shush me. I just got shushed.
We got audio, y'all. For some reason, we don't have a home screen. I hope you can hear me now. Let me know if you can hear me now. We had audio. The mics weren't turned on yet for a reason, because Thrift was over here just rambling on about I don't know
shushed
what.
Me. He said,
Shh. I shushed him. I had to shush him because I knew Tyler was getting ready to give me the signal that we're going live. So, yeah, it's been a couple weeks, but we're happy to be back in the Let's Talk Fish studio for another great episode, action-packed episode.
I mean, 1 week, I feel like it was Halloween, so we had a good reason. The week before
Still been
that,
a couple weeks.
Yeah, the week before that, I'm sure we had a good reason. I don't remember what it was. But.
I had to tote my oldest Reese to ballet that night.
Oh, yeah. And Jeff was out of town, too.
Yeah, Jeff was out of town. That's right. That's exactly right. He did, Ryan, and he did his job right. He got the sound rolling when he was supposed to. So, all right. Yeah, so Let's Talk Fish, as y'all know, is presented by Angler's Choice Marine, which has 3 locations in Lexington, North Carolina, Spindale, North Carolina, and Martinsville, Virginia. Huge, huge inventory of all the White River Marine brands, your Rangers, which Brian and I are kind of partial to.
Yes.
Your Nitros and your Tritons. Along with a large variety of Sun Tracker pontoons, Bass Tracker boats. They got you covered.
Tracker off-road equipment.
That's right, yep. And heck of a tackle selection. We talk about that all the time. But
why does mine say 0 on the viewers?
I don't know. It's not working, but obviously
I got a new phone, and
we have comments rocking and rolling. But I don't have. It's not showing any viewers for me either. But we have comments rocking and rolling. So okay,
I'm gonna close mine out and do it again. See what happens.
Yeah, it may not. It may not change. So Idiot Verse. That's actually his name on YouTube chat. It's his first live show, or her.
Nice.
Could be a her, could be a she. But we appreciate y'all joining in. So
it's working now.
yeah, first I got a couple things. Got a little housekeeping like we always do. First off, don't forget, end of the show, we got a trivia giveaway, awesome trivia question, and the giveaway tonight sponsored by Angler's Choice Marine. We got a high performance hoodie. We got a hat. Compliments of Angler's Choice, and we'll get that information from the winner after the trivia question is answered correctly. Again, y'all, the trivia answers come through our feed, and the first correct one that we see is the winner, period, in the story. That is always a controversy, it seems like, for us.
I feel like we do a good job with it.
I think we do.
I feel like
I think we quote unquote laid the hammer down early on. That like, look,
I
like,
think most of
just
especially our long-term viewers, they know the deal.
Yeah, that's right. Not going to tell you the answer, Keith Wood. Good try. I have been known to do that in the past, but I'm not going to do that tonight. Matt McBee, our boy Tater Hog, won the Special Olympics tournament on Lake Norman this past Saturday. So congrats to Tater.
17 pounds too. That's strong in the fall.
Yeah, that's an old bag.
That's a strong bag in the fall on Lake Norman.
Hey, thanks, M. Jones. I appreciate that. He said my commentary at the last Open was great when I was on live. I did get to co-host. If anybody missed it, I got to co-host. I got to fly over to Little Rock, Arkansas, go to the Bassmaster Studio, which, by the way, is a pretty unbelievable facility.
I bet that is pretty cool.
The facility itself, dude, the fishing hole. You remember the fishing hole?
Oh, yeah.
It was filmed there. They do a lot of saltwater stuff there. They've done a lot of the, what's the steel sponsors it? It's like where they saw the wood real fast. And the steel outdoor stuff. The lumberjack contest. Anyway,
I really love watching that when I was a kid. That's fun.
Dude,
it's fun.
Look, there's a lot of history in that studio, and got to go out there and co-host the last Bassmaster Open on Fox Sports with Ronnie Moore and old Such. But it was a blast. And hey, look, I know Brian's not on the same page with me when I say this, but I would actually retire early if I could do something like that, because I really enjoyed that. And it is a lot. I mean, it's still a lot of like what Ronnie Moore and those guys do. Like, I got like.
Oh, you got to be a
insane amount of respect for those guys.
Everybody can't do that.
Yeah, so I'll give you a little
I can't do that. I mean, I know I can. I can't. Like the show, like Matt takes control. He handles the flow. I can't do that. Like, that's just not my personality.
You're doing
a great job.
You're doing it right now. Keep going.
No, I'm not. I'm done. That was my
awkward moment.
Little ad lib into that.
So I'll talk about that more in a minute. But shout out to Tater
Ryan
Hog.
Sowers said you had a face for radio.
He said a radio voice. He didn't say a face for radio. He said a radio. I read that comment. He said a radio voice. Come on, man.
I was reading into it. That's what he meant.
Yeah,
that's what he meant.
That's what you meant. I'm not going to disagree with that comment either, but it's a good thing about radio. Well, unfortunately, I was on Fox Sports that day, so my face was seen on national television, regardless of how good or bad I looked. But, all right, another shout-out. So the Special Olympics tournament this past Saturday on Lake Norman, it's a huge tournament. They do a good job with that tournament. A lot of money raised for a great cause, and Ricky Peace does a good job with that deal. But shout out to 2 CCBA teams, all right? So John Gavin and Carter from the Cleveland County Bass Anglers and Eli and Jacob from the Cleveland County Bass Anglers got second and third. They have a high school division within that tournament. They got second and third place in the high school division.
That's awesome.
Both had a limit of fish, but yeah, big shout out to those boys. All right.
Keith said Haywood won the tournament, not Tater Hole.
Well, weren't they fishing together?
Yeah. So
Matt Haywood. I have an apology to make because that's not fair. Like if you're fishing on a team, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, I apologize because I didn't know who Tater fished with.
Yeah.
I should have assumed it was Matt Haywood because I think that's
who he always fished with.
Right. That's it.
Tater, I heard the story from Tater.
Congratulations to Matt Haywood also, who is Tater's partner. And truth be told, Haywood probably caught all the fish anyway.
I think Hog did.
Oh, did he really?
I think so.
All right. Well, back to my original statement. Congrats, Tater.
That was Tater's story anyway. So if that's incorrect, I got it directly.
We have a similar story to tell, don't we? Like similar, kind of like Matt caught all the fish and.
No. No, I don't know exactly where we're. I know I got one in there. We'll get to that in a little bit.
All right, so
possibly two.
See this cool
one.
cardboard check back here behind us. I got to give another shout out. A lot of shout outs tonight, but when you don't have shows for several weeks, you have a lot of shout outs to give.
We got a lot of stuff's happened in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, so we Wendell, he said, Matt, tell us how Brian won Moss on Saturday. That's funny,
I took
Wendell.
Matt to him. That's how I won.
Wendell, be patient. Patience, Wendell. We will, actually, that spot was my idea, if I recall correctly.
Oh, it was.
Oh.
After I figured the pattern out, Matt's like, ooh, we need to go here.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
We're going to get into it.
It was true teamwork. All right. I do have to give another shout out, and it is, again, to Anglers Choice Marine. And here's why. So, Arnold Ledford, who ran, y'all heard us talk about on the show, these Moss Lake Thursday nighters.
We did a benefit tournament shortly after he passed.
Yeah, passed away several years back. And Arnold, great guy. These tournaments, Brian and I are in our 40s. No, I'm 42. Brian's 44.
Yeah.
44. And we've been fishing these things for over 20 years. Well over 20 years.
20.
Yeah, well over 20 years.
The very first bass tournament I ever won in my life was at
Moss Lake.
Yeah.
It may I may be the same if it wasn't a club tournament. It was a Moss Lake Thursday nighter. That being said, they've been going on longer than that, like 35 years.
I'd say at least that,
roughly.
Yeah.
So after Arnold passed away, there was a couple guys that came in and took the reins, for a year or two there, David Hendrick and Larry and that crew. Yeah. But then, it kind of got to the point to where, it's a lot of responsibility to run these tournaments, right? It's a lot of responsibility.
It is. A lot to keep up with.
Yep. And Mike Burchett, Austin, Chad up there at Anglers Choice in Spindale, Mike, I reached out to Mike and I said, Mike, I think this is a good opportunity. Mike was 100% in from the get-go. Dude, he was excited. He was stoked about it. And he said, yeah, let's do it. And Anglers Choice stepped in, and I'll tell you what they did this year, y'all. They stepped in. They paid a contingency bonus for the highest finishing Anglers Choice purchase boat at every single Thursday nighter this year.
Nighter.
Which is, I don't know how many.
From March until
October, late October.
Yeah.
They also paid out more in the fish-off than has ever been paid out in the history of Moss Lake. They paid out well over $10,000. They paid 3 Anglers Choice bonuses Saturday. They had raffle prizes. They had rods, reels, gave away some batteries. They gave away
some delicious hot dogs.
Yeah, Mr. Eddie Wooten himself, the OG Eddie, was down there cooking hot dogs with Chad, Aaron from Anglers Choice. I could name. I mean, they had
the whole crew down.
They had the whole crew down there working. When you went through in the morning, and this is Moss Lake, y'all. This is a little couple thousand-acre city lake, so this was a big deal. They had the weigh-in trailer down there. It was very well run. But huge shout out to Anglers Choice for kind of taking the reins and continuing the tradition, man.
Yeah,
because that's
and
a big
also
deal.
something to look forward to in the future for our local listeners. I think Mike mentioned something about possibly running some Saturday morning tournaments throughout the winter at Moss Lake Anglers Choice tournaments. So that's something to be on the lookout for if you're local want to come over there and have some fun at Moss this wintertime.
Yeah, so I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, he said it. You were standing there.
Okay. I was standing
Matt
there.
was counting his money. He wasn't listening.
I was not counting my money. All right, let's keep on rolling. So we got to dive in a little bit to kind of how it went down. I've had several questions about, first of all, everything's really, all the water levels around here, Norman, Moss, they're like, they're not record lows, but they're low.
I don't think we've had over like a half inch of rain in probably a month and a half.
Yeah, well over a month.
It's
well over a month.
As dry as I can ever remember it for the fall.
Yep. So the weight, let's not discuss the weight storm chaser quite yet, because if that question was directed towards us, it may have been directed to somebody in the comments. But the reason is we just can't disclose that quite yet. So anybody that fished the tournament knows. But anyway, so basically Brian and I get out there Saturday morning. I got to tell this because I was pretty much pissed off the whole day because of the way the tournament started.
Oh yeah, let's start from the very beginning.
You mean when you asked me to fish it?
We're sitting in a fog delay, and
well, when he first asked me to fish the fish off months back or whatever it was, I was like, "When is it?" And he's like, "November 4th." Was it the 4th? Was that right, Tyler? Was it Saturday the 4th?
Yep, that's right.
And I'm like, "You realize November the 4th can potentially be a pretty magical time in the deer woods?" And he's like, "Oh, I probably, I don't care. Who cares about deer hunting? Go bass fishing. We can make some money. I'm paying $5,000." So I'm like,
I
all
didn't
right.
say
I said,
nothing like
I had
that.
I actually had
nothing like that.
it sounded just like that. I had a potential conflict with my daughter, potentially with a chorus deal that didn't end up coming through. And I told Brian, yeah, we'll fish it. And anyway, so we're sitting there Saturday morning. We're
supposed to blast off at safe light, which was going to be roughly
7-ish,
7:20ish, something like
7:15,
that.
yeah. And we're sitting there, and like this gigantic fog cloud rolls in right over this little bitty tiny lake and just sits there right out in front of us. And of course, Brian and I have enough experience with fog and zero wind that we knew it was just going to be
there
hanging out for a little bit. Yeah. So I think it was, what time we take off, Tyler? 8:15?
About 8:30. Yeah, about 8:30.
Okay, so it's 8:15, 8:30 by the time we took off. Well, you know what Matt's doing? We're sitting there waiting to take off.
Matt's bored.
I'm checking trail cam pictures. I'm checking cell cams and all kind of stuff.
I remember the time. So yeah. Matt, he's been wanting to go hunt. He's like, man, this fog delay, I could have went hunting and shot one and been back before takeoff. And then
did we lose sound? We didn't lose sound, did we?
Did we lose sound?
Okay, because Keith Wood just said sound ? Just wanted to make sure y'all let us know if we did, because sometimes if just one person says it, we say it's still rocking. But if 10 people say it, we got a problem.
Yeah. Do we have sound?
Continue, Thrift.
So the approximate time was 8:05 a.m. Matt looks over at me and he says,
"Don't say exactly what I said."
Roundabout, he says, "I'm going to kill you." And I said, "What are you talking about?" And then he just points his phone at me, and it's like big giant 8-pointer he's been trying to kill all year, standing right under his stand on the cell camera.
At 8 o'clock.
It was 8:04. I remember. That's when you got the picture.
So he made a deal with me, Tyler. I may not have told you this.
I think I know this.
You know this? So Brian told me the day before. I said, "Man," we had a massive cold front hitting the Carolinas too, and like the low that night was in the 20s, high in the 50s. The deer were on their feet like off and on all day, all night, running around like crazy. And the day before, I was trying to figure out how I could go hunting after the tournament. And check-in was supposed to be at 3 o'clock, but the fog delay jacked that all up. Yeah, so it moved it to 4.
Yeah, they moved the weigh-in till 4 because we didn't blast off till after 8.
So I said, actually, I didn't even say this. Brian said, "I'll make a deal with you."
So, the day before, I made Matt a deal. I made him a deal. I said, "You can leave early if you can." I said, "You can leave at 2 o'clock so we can hunt Saturday evening." I said, "You can leave at 2 o'clock if we've got less than 8.5 pounds or more than 18. So I gave him a slot limit on him getting to go hunting.
So here's the problem. Once the fog delay hit,
I had to push it to 3.
Well, because the check-in was now pushed to 4. So at this point, I'm like, I'm not going to make it anyway, so I'm kind of giving up. But on the flip side of that, after the tournament was over, it gets worse. because
It doesn't
And I
get
get
worse.
home and I
Look,
send a picture.
Right there. Check with your name on it.
I'd probably give half of mine back to kill that deer. All right. I get home and it's like, I don't know, it's a solid hour before dark. Like a solid, it's
Here,
not like,
I'll tell you exactly. Let me
it's,
just
yeah, it's
let me
not
go
like
to the text
these big
message.
giant deer that typically daylight in the last 5 minutes, the first 5 minutes. No, this big bastard decided to do it an hour after daylight that morning and an hour before dark that evening.
Hang on, I'll tell you exactly what time it was. There we go.
All I could do was stare at him.
Matt sent me a picture of his same deer under his stand at 6:05 and said, "I really hate you now."
Yeah,
So that's not very
before
nice.
that's before the time change, so it didn't get dark till like 7:05. So it's a good solid hour. And he was back in the same spot he was that morning, basically giving me the hoof. He was giving me the hoof. And to cap it all off, which I love my girls, and I really enjoyed watching them
I
have
don't
a
think
good time.
anybody's gonna take pity on your story with a check for $5,000
They might in a
with
minute.
your name on it.
Because that night I took my wife and 2 daughters to the Taylor Swift Eras movie.
Oh yeah.
And I sent you a video. I
You
think.
did. You did.
I'm inside the cinema, dude. And so I didn't realize the Taylor Swift Eras movie is basically just her concert. The whole movie
I know nothing about.
okay.
Taylor
Well, I
Swift,
didn't know. I
so-
thought it was like a movie. You know,
Yeah.
it's a movie, but it's her concert. It's just her
They
whole
just
concert.
filmed the concert.
It's 2 hours and 48 minutes long. If anybody's wondering, before they take their kids, and the tickets are there's a surcharge on the tickets because it's Taylor Swift, right? She's the thing right now. So I kid you not, dude. We have a refill popcorn bucket. You know, the ones that you get, you keep at the house and you take back to the theater and you get a
Yeah.
special rate to refill it. So we take the popcorn bucket with us. It's my 2 daughters and my wife, Emily. And I walk in there and I get the refill. The refill's only like $5.99 for a large popcorn. That's a deal.
Right,
at
that
the
is a
movies.
deal. That
So I'm
is
like,
a
all right, cool. I'm rocking right now. I get a large drink and they want the Taylor Swift
Special
Eras
cup.
special edition cup.
Yeah.
So we just get one because it's free refills. And we had a bottle of water stashed in our bag.
You're
like-
losing a lot
like-
of credibility, by the way.
I don't really
continue
care.
your story.
I'm not worried about it. So they wanted that cup, and it's like that's double the price of popcorn. The cup's $12.
Yeah.
So we get that, and I'm like, all right, whatever. So I need 4 tickets. So I get 2 adult tickets and 2 kids tickets. And she says, all right, your total's $88. And I said, excuse me? And she said, it's $88. I said, for 4 movie tickets, a large popcorn, and a drink? She said, yeah, the Swift tickets are more. Well, I looked at the price of those suckers, dude. The adult tickets to that Swift movie are $20 a piece, and the kids were $15 a piece. I mean, that's like, what happened to $4 movie tickets? When we were a kid, it was like 3 or 4 bucks.
Yeah, well, that was 30 years ago.
Yeah, but it shouldn't have quadrupled. Like, it should have doubled.
Everything else quadrupled.
Yeah, that's true. Our payouts didn't. They actually got cut.
That's for another episode. That's another episode.
Yeah, so that's a whole nother topic. Anyway, where were we at? Oh, back.
I don't know. Somehow we ended up on Taylor Swift. I thought we were talking about Moss Lake, and
All right, back to Moss Lake. So I'm gonna let Brian, because I've been talking too much, and I'm gonna lose my Wendell.
all right, let's get into the.
And we got politics in our feeds now.
Yeah,
I
we're
mean,
going
come on,
back to
Wendell.
fishing.
Like, nobody
We're
said
going back
anything
to fishing.
politics, and now he's talking about left wing liberal
Let's go
Swift,
back
this,
to
that, and
the
the other.
topic at hand of Moss Lake fishing in
Moss-
a big tournament.
Yeah, and I mean, big for Moss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was there? 37, 38 boats?
Yeah, it's between 35 and 40 boats,
Yeah.
something like that. Which is, believe it or not, it became like a merry-go-round out there. It always does when there's 40
Yes,
boats
it's
out
a
there.
small lake. It's like 1,500, 2,000 acre lake.
Yeah, yeah.
And everybody's fishes out there all year, all the time. So everybody kind of knows the same places and fishes the same stuff. And it's just it becomes more of a chess game than it does a fishing tournament.
So you nailed it when you said chess game. So I'm going to let you go ahead and expand on that, because I've had several people ask me, how'd y'all catch them Saturday? I told a couple buddies, obviously, but I want you to dive into detail, because one of the topics that I want to talk about tonight is exactly what Brian just said. It's like fishing sometimes can be a chess game.
Yes.
And what he means by that is managing high intense fishing pressure situations during tournaments. So everybody is guilty. All of us sitting here at this table, we go out there the weekend before, during the week. Tyler, you do it all the time. You go out there and you whack them post pictures on social media, do videos, this, that, and
It's
other.
a known fact. Fish bite better on Wednesday and Thursday.
Fish
That's
bite better
the
when there's less boats on the water.
Well, yeah,
They don't
sure.
bite on Thursdays, just Wednesdays. They definitely bite good. on
Moss is Tuesday and Wednesday. Every other lake, it's Wednesday and Thursday.
So I'm gonna let Brian dive into kind of how to attack those situations and how it transpired Saturday, and how we got fortunate to come out, with a W, because it was extremely tough conditions.
We had to dig deep.
Yeah, I know some people are gonna be disappointed when we talk about exactly what we caught them on, things like that.
I mean,
But
well, let's just. So
Go ahead.
We started out the day, and what I caught maybe 1 or 2 keepers on a jerkbait
Yep.
early.
we were doing the forward-facing sonar deal like everybody else
like
on the
we
lake.
were looking at them on the Humminbird Mega Live and watching them swim up to our stuff and swim away. But we noticed pretty quick into the event that they didn't want to chase anything. Like you could catch a little one or two that would, on a moving bait, a jerk bait, something like that, but swim bait, but they didn't want to chase anything. And, Matt, he picked up a shaky head pretty early, and after, what was it, probably
I do not like a shaky head, for the record. But continue.
So we're struggling at 10:30, 11 o'clock. We've got 3 14.5-inch keepers, and Matt's like, I'm throwing a shaky head. And I said, all right, I'm going to keep throwing the moving bait, just being hard-headed, trying to trigger a bite or something like that. And
Brian was pulling out some tricks too now.
oh, yeah, we was trying everything. I mean,
Yeah.
we busted A-rig out on them, crank,
Yeah.
jerk bait, swing bait.
Brian asked me the night
Demiki
before,
underspin.
he's like, I'm going to bring an A-rig. I'm like, that's good, because I pretty much don't have any anymore. So I hadn't thrown one since they outlawed it. On
Yeah.
the elites, that is.
But we couldn't get them to bite anything moving. They didn't want to chase. And
No, they'd follow. All the
yeah,
way to the
but they
boat.
wouldn't commit. All right,
Correct.
They would chase, but they wouldn't commit. Let me rephrase that.
They follow everything.
Right.
Anything you threw out there, they follow it. Anything.
So what we were targeting, which was what most of the field was doing, we were watching everybody run the same stuff, was these taller brush piles.
The
that
fresh stuff, the good stuff.
fresh,
typical.
the brush pile you see on
The
your side
Wednesday
of-
brush.
Yeah,
The Tuesday
Wednesday
brush. Yeah.
But this is the brush pile that you see on your forward-facing sonar, and it's it's out there in 15 to 20 feet of water, and it's sticking up 10 to 12 feet off the bottom, and
Big
you're
old
like,
pretty
oh,
stuff.
it's gorgeous, like looks like a
lips.
Christmas tree down there, lit up with lights with fish sitting on it, and we can't get bit out of any of it. And
When
finally,
we do, it's like a little bitty baby bass.
yeah, when we do, it's like a 12-incher, 10-incher maybe.
Yeah, I was going to say 12 stretching it.
So we finally, I started thinking about some places, and I go to a place that's got some really old brush, and it's only maybe 2 or 3 feet high off the bottom.
Yeah,
like
it's
just
that,
old,
yeah.
rotted down. It's been there for I don't know how many years. a
Stuff
long
that
time.
people ignore.
Right? Yeah, the stuff that most people would ignore.
And that we haven't seen anybody fish.
That was the thing. Excuse me. I'll mention about it being a chess game was, the lake's small. We've already been up and down the lake 6 different times at this point, and every time we've rode by this spot, nobody's been on it. And I'm like, Matt, let's go over here and hit this place. And he's like, man, we haven't fished it in forever. So we pull over there. I'm throwing a shaky head at this point because neither one of us are getting bit on anything moving, and Matt's caught a few little ones on a shaky head. And Matt's been telling me for the last hour, dude, pick up the shaky head. We both need to throw the shaky head till we get a limit at least. Me being hard-headed, I finally gave in and said, all right, I'm going to throw the shaky head.
Write that down, Tyler.
So
Took
we
an
pull
hour
up
for me
at
to
this-
finally get him to throw it.
It may be longer. Possibly.
I don't blame you, though. I mean, it is funny that Brian had. Well, go ahead and finish first, and then we'll talk about that later.
So we pull up on this nothing-looking old dilapidated brush pile, and I throw out and I catch like a 2.5-pound largemouth. And we're like, oh, we may have figured something out, but wasn't real sure. I throw back, I catch another good keeper. That gives us a limit. Matt throws out, misses one. Or did you catch? You
I
caught-
lost one.
Yeah.
I caught a little one,
Yeah,
and lost
Matt
one.
caught
so.
a little one, and then I throw back and I miss one, and then it's over. But we had 4 bites out of this one little terrible-looking brush pile. And then we start thinking, Matt starts, the wheels start turning, hey, we need to start thinking about places like this that nobody's running that looks terrible, stuff we used to fish 10 years ago that's almost
and,
gone.
and it's offset from the obvious places, too.
Right.
Like, it's not in obvious places.
Right.
It's junk. It's trash.
Yeah, like most people would look at it and not even fish it because you can't see the fish. The brush is so low to the bottom, the fish are setting down on the bottom, and you don't, on the forward-facing sonar, you don't have enough separation from the bottom of the lake. Like you've got about probably 1.5 foot or a 2 foot zone that you can't really see on the forward-facing sonar. So if those fish are sitting right down tight to the bottom, it's really hard to distinguish them, especially if they're around that brush that's real low to the bottom as well.
Yeah, and I'm going to give you a shout out real quick because that's something Brian noticed fairly early when I got a few bites on a worm, was that the fish were super tight to the bottom. And something to pay attention to, which Lawrence, I have to brag on Lawrence. I know you're a Humber guy, but I got to brag on Lawrence because they do truly, I believe, wholeheartedly, they have the best target separation in the game. When it comes to side imaging or looking at fish actually relating to the bottom itself. Now, these fish, when they're relating to the bottom like that and they're tight, you got to be real careful when you're scanning with that forward-facing sonar because a lot of these fish that Thrift saw, it took me a minute to pick up on them, which you're used to, looking at Hummingbird. I'm used to looking at Lawrence. But you're looking for little irregularities on the bottom that actually move or change shape as opposed to
just sitting there.
Exactly. Pay really close attention to that because you'd be amazed how many bass, whether in the side of a ditch or tight to the bottom on your forward-facing sonar, that people do not see.
Right.
Because they don't pay attention. They don't pay attention to detail. Brian noticed that very early on, and then that's how we were starting to kind of put together a little bit of a pattern. But go ahead.
So once we get on that one pile and get those 4 bites, Matt mentions another one. And we're like, man, we haven't fished it in forever either. Let's run over there and hit it. So we pull in there, and like almost immediately, Matt catches a 2.5.
We hit the one over there on the flat and caught 3 or 4 out of it too. The one in that little corner, that little sneaky deal.
Oh yeah,
and that was before that. We caught several there. You caught a keeper.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I was sitting there yakking on the phone.
But same deal. It was short brush. It was only a foot or 2 off the bottom. And then we go to another place, and it's probably about 2 o'clock, and dead slick calm all day, no wind, like gorgeous weather. And the wind kind of gets just a little bit of a ripple on the surface, just enough where I can spot lock us finally. And the wind's blowing in this pocket where this other little short brush is. I pull in there, and almost immediately Matt catches a 2 3/4 pound spot.
I caught a little. I got a bite like 3 casts in a row.
Yeah, like
caught a
3
little
casts in a row. And then he catches a good one. So I spot lock us. And we sat there for 45 minutes and probably caught 15, 20.
Yeah, a bunch.
On a shaky head, just out of this little short, scattered area with brush.
And they weren't actually relating directly to the brush. And that may have something to do with pressure.
You didn't get a bite.
Correct. Yeah, you had to be around it.
That was what was weird.
And you were liable to, like, you were out there fan casting like you were fishing a big giant school on a ledge or something.
Right.
Like you were liable to get bit on any cat. Because it was weird because I'd throw in a brush pile. I wouldn't get bit. I'd throw 10 foot to the left, catch one, go through 10 foot to the right, catch one, throw way out here to the right and catch one. And we were able to fan cast it there and basically call almost everything we had minus that largemouth.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yep. I know we caught 3 of our 3 biggest fish other than that largemouth we caught. Matt caught all 3 of them. So I'm not going to say he caught all 3 of them.
Hold on a second. I'm not going to make you repeat that. Don't worry.
I'll be fine. I ain't ashamed.
So anybody that's ever watched this show knows that when Brian and I fished Thursday nighters, Brian came up.
You got to let me tell. This is my story.
Well, you came up with the rule.
I know, but this is my story.
Okay,
you
go
can't
ahead.
tell it, and I'm going to get there.
As long as you have money.
You're trying to jump the gun.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
So anyway, that's what won the tournament for us. Spot locked on this one little area. Matt throwing a shaky head out of the back of the boat. Like I even told him at one point, I was like, man, this is like taking me back to 05 when you were in your true co-angler glory days.
Oh, dude, it was awesome. I was on the back deck, leaning up against the butt seat.
Throwing straight back with the wind.
Drinking me a sun drop or Gatorade.
He was throwing that
with
shaky
the wind
head
in my back, firing that sucker 100 miles. Saying, get the net, Thrift, get the net.
And I said, gladly. So anyways,
I'm just glad you had a net because neither one of us used one on tour.
Right. I didn't have any coal balls, so we just had to weigh them and hope.
He gets in the boat, and we don't have any coal rings, coal balls.
First time I've ever turned my live well on.
We don't have a balance. He didn't know how to turn his live wells on because if anybody forgot, Brian fishes BPT. They don't use their live wells. So he's like, hey, Matt, did I do this right? I'm like, yeah, dude. I said, I can handle that part.
Yeah.
Like, I know how to turn the live wells on in the Ranger. I got this. But he got it right.
Yeah,
And,
we got it right and ended up winning the event and had a fun day. Matt didn't get to kill his deer, but he made a little money. But back to the
I'd
story.
about to say, don't hold on, Mal.
I'm getting there. So many years ago, Matt and I fished the Thursday nighters for 10, 12 years together probably. And Matt used to, I mean, for lack of a better word, I didn't feel like Matt prepared for it as much as I did. Like, even though we were only fishing
I
for
never
100,
prepare for a tournament as much as you do.
I know.
And I never will. I wouldn't be able to if I tried. Like, I prepare for my tournaments. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
Like, I feel like I thoroughly prepare. But that guy takes it to a whole new level. Between you and New, I don't know who does
So
more.
I don't feel like he was preparing enough to help me win this $150 in the Thursday night tournaments. And he was breaking a lot of fish off.
Not a lot.
I mean, it's almost every week he was breaking one or two off.
That's a stretch, Tyler.
No, one week all right. So anyway, I started picking up on this trend, and I'm
Hey,
like,
is your boat available real quick? Is your 23 boat available?
I think so, yeah.
Well, somebody asked, so I'm going to
Yeah,
let him know.
it's available.
Okay. I got you. Keep going.
So I had to implement a penalty on Matt in the Thursday night tournaments for
penalty.
every time he broke a fish off because he was costing me money. So I started charging him $10 for every fish he broke off in a Thursday night event. And there was a couple of weeks he'd pay me $20, $30. Like whatever we won, I'd have to deduct his payment out from what he owed me for breaking fish off. So anybody that fishes team tournaments together, if you got a partner you don't feel like's preparing like they should, start charging them $10 for every fish they break off. Because it's
what are you, the
it's-
tournament police?
I am. You costing me money. I can't have that. So anyways,
I'm winning you money, too.
you are winning me money. So anyways, it's not fair if I don't apply the same rule to myself. And I had went all day Saturday.
That sounded like it was hard for you to say that.
It was. I'd fish from whatever 8:30 till about 12:30 without retying the leader on my shaky head, and I'm gonna happily pay Matt
Look, Tyler.
his $10 I owe him for breaking one off. It didn't help. It wouldn't have helped us.
You don't know that the fish never made it in the boat.
I saw it. Though.
It was a solid keeper.
It was a keeper, but it wouldn't help us. But either way, I broke him off at the boat because I hadn't retied. And here's your $10, man.
You know what this is going to go towards?
What's it going to go toward? Taylor Swift. Ticket.
Taylor Swift tickets. You nailed it. Look, everybody know. All right, Thrift paid me for breaking a fish off. And here's the weird thing. Like, I did break a few fish off in some Thursday nighters, and I'm not going to lie. It's because I just threw some rods in the boat and took off.
And like he would go 3 weeks without retying his leaders.
Well, if I didn't have an elite tournament or FLW tour tournament or whatever it was at the time, I wasn't real worried about it. I mean, to break one off on a Thursday night and you lose $6, I mean, not that big a deal.
No, it's like $150.
Lord have mercy. So Brian sets a hook on this. The crazy thing was he set the hook on this fish, this big old giant spotted bass that he lost. It would have got big fish, and it gets it all. It gets it all the way to the
15
boat.
inches
This
long.
is weird though. It's a weird break off. I'm kind of giving you credit because something probably happened with your line. You know, like
It's just I hadn't retied.
something wasn't right. But
Yeah.
I mean, he's just fighting it right there next to the boat, and his line just goes poink. But when it went poink, Matt was jumping up and down on the back deck going, "That's $10. That's $10, baby."
He wanted me to lose that fish.
No, I didn't.
He was
No, I
happier
didn't.
about me losing that fish than he was when I caught that good largemouth.
You gonna sign this for me?
I will if you
You
want.
know I got one $10 bill signed by Bryan Thrift
I know,
already.
I know.
So yeah, are you done? Are you done telling the spiel on how we caught him? So
I think so. I think we covered everything.
So Wendell was one of the guys that was reaching out about how we caught him. We literally caught. I told you were not going to be happy when we told you. Thrift told you how we caught him, but every fish that we weighed in came on a green pumpkin shaky head worm, 3/16 or 1/8 ounce jig head, 8 pound. He wanted setups and everything. I think 8 pound.
yeah.
Well, he's using 8 pound Spin-X P-line braid. I was using a 9 pound because I was scared to death I was going to break one off, have to pay Thrift $10. I was using a 9 pound Spin-X fluorocarbon leader. What pound leader were you using? Because you did break one off.
I was using 9 too, but I hadn't retied
yeah, that's
all
what
day.
it was.
I was the only
I
difference.
almost put 7 on, and then I got to thinking I don't want to have to pay Thrift an extra $10.
The only difference in my setup is I was throwing the 16-pound Spin-X braid versus
All right.
the 8.
So Idiot Verse. I hate to call you that, but that's your name on YouTube. But said, what size stinger? So, look, we tell the truth on this show. I'm a big lunker hunt guy, obviously.
Yeah.
Throw a lot of their sticks and tubes and things like that. Thrift's a big Demiki guy. But I got to give credit where credit's due. We actually caught all those fish on a
I don't even know what the name of it is. It shaky head worm?
mag shaky worm. Is that what it's called?
Maybe, I think so.
A green pumpkin mag shaky worm. Now, would those fish have bitten something else? Maybe. But I was just happened to pick that worm up that morning and got a couple bites on it. So Thrift threw the same worm. I mean, dude, they got to where they were biting it too good, and I'm like, so it's an oversized worm. So here's
it's like
another
a 6.5 inch worm.
at
7
least.
inch,
At least it might be 7 inches.
Yeah.
From nose to tail. One thing about it is, and we've talked about this a little bit on the show before, is spotted bass, a lot of small baits, finesse worms, little robo worms, things like that. Always a big deal on catching spotted bass. But everybody out there probably throws a trick worm or smaller, probably a lot of finesse worms. A lot of robo worms are thrown in that lake.
A lot of those hand-pulled
This
worms.
is a much bigger profile worm. And I honestly think that had a lot to do with the reason we got so many
It's a bigger
bites.
profile, but it's not really, if you think about it.
Well, it's longer,
But
and it's a
got
little bit
very
bigger,
skinny, tapered tail.
but it tapers down to a needle tail. So a lot of action in the tail.
What size shaky head were you throwing?
3/16.
I was throwing 8.
Yep. And I did get more bites on the 3/16.
You did. That's what I was fixing to say, because Matt got a lot more bites than I did.
And one thing about it is I did notice everybody kind of has their own cadence with a shaky head worm. Whatever works for you is what you're going to do the most. But we talk about cadences all the time. They're important from a shaky head to a drop shot all the way up to a jerkbait.
Yes.
Right? Like,
And I think when you notice them the most is this time of year, when fish are finicky, more finicky.
close enough. Yeah. They know it. They pick it up what
Because
you're
I
putting down.
picked up on that too with Matt throwing the 3/16. I was watching him on the back deck because he's catching one every 2 or 3 casts, and I was kind of amazed and holding the net pretty much.
Good old fashioned co-angler beat down, Tyler.
That's what it was. That's what it was. But so Matt, I was more of a kind of just dragging along the bottom with mine, throwing the 1/8 ounce, fishing it really slow, dragging it. And I look back there at Matt, and he's like shaking it in place, like he's moving it 5 or 6 inches, and then he's sitting there shaking it, and he's getting probably 2 to my 1 bites, 3 to my 1 bites doing that. Wouldn't you say?
Roughly, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say every bit of that.
But it was definitely more of an aggressive cadence with the shaky head. And when you're using more of an aggressive cadence, the size of the head doesn't matter near as much. I think heavier better, because you want to keep that worm on the bottom, shake it more, make it move more, and shorter, and make it move less distance, but give more action to the worm.
Right.
Does that make sense? But yeah, anyway, I appreciate it, y'all. They said look, I'm getting a lot of comments on here that I'm a great dad for taking the kids to see
I didn't
Taylor
say
Swift and
nothing
all.
about that.
But I kid y'all not, it was like a live concert in there, because half the people in that theater were in there dancing.
Oh,
and
yeah.
like
I know, Matt,
singing.
you sent me a video of everybody up there dancing.
But truth be told, I was out in the lobby for about 30 minutes talking on the phone to bass fishing buddies. But I did get back in. I mean, and, look, I got to give credit.
That's commendable. I mean, I don't think any man could sit in there the whole 3 hours without getting a little bit of a break.
I had a good 15 to 20 minute break in amongst the 2 hours and 48 minutes
I
of
think
Taylor
that's
Swift
good.
songs.
I think that's warranted.
Yeah, it was. But no,
The main thing is the girls had a good time.
Right. I get more joy out of watching my girls have fun than anything else. It's like Disney World, like a lot of. What?
Sorry. We just got all these little Taylor Swift innuendos
don't
and
care.
comments coming in. No, Brian Sowers said, did Matt just say "Shake It Off"?
Did I?
Isn't that a Taylor Swift song?
Oh, talking about my shaky head though.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's funny. All right. So Mitch has a name. Mitch Christie. That was Idiot Verse. Said he fixed his
I'm
name.
kind of liking Idiot Verse.
Idiot Verse. I mean, I hate to call people out, by their name, but when you're labeled Idiot Verse, that's all I got
like
to go
it.
on.
It's interesting. Like, I want to hear the story behind it now. I just imagine it's got to be a good story behind it.
Yep. Brian asked me earlier, he's like, you ain't filled both your deer tags yet? Oh, Brian has filled both of his deer tags. Matt has not filled a deer tag all year. Now,
And it's my fault because we went fishing Saturday.
When you I'll be honest, y'all. I'm a very stubborn hunter. I single out 1 or 2 deer every year and try to kill those particular deer. And seen a lot of deer and had probably one of the best seasons of my life. But it's been so close yet so far. But to me, I like the challenge of bow hunting big mature bucks like I do bass fishing tournaments because once you accomplish a win in a tournament or a top 10, whatever it may be, or you kill a big deer like that, it's a lot more satisfying in the end to me. So, but yeah, no, I love the challenge. I love just spending time in the woods too. But yeah,
that's what I like. I like watching them.
I have not punched a tag yet, but when I do, what's that? Dos Equis guy say? Dos Equis say? So I don't know. Anyway, I ain't punched a tag yet, but when I do, I'll let y'all know. That's all I got. That's all I got. Brian, don't you want to take Wiley and Cooper to see Taylor Swift?
I just turned my phone sideways.
Brian, I'm taking my kids to see Taylor Swift, and he's got his boys out in the driveway shooting automatic pistols today.
I did do that today. That was fun.
That's what I saw. That's what I saw on your social media feed anyway.
That's what I seen right before we came here.
What was that he was shooting?
CO2 BB pistol.
A CO2 automatic?
You can do full auto or something.
Dude, that thing was like.
Oh, it's awesome.
And it was a BB gun?
I think Beretta makes it.
So when I heard it, I'm like, oh my gosh, Wiley's getting ready to shoot his first Glock or something. And then I heard it and I'm like, wait, what? What is he shooting?
Yeah, it's a CO2 BB gun. I think it's a Beretta. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
I like that, Keith. I'm gonna use that. I don't always punch a deer tag, but when I do, it's a fat doe. I might make that into a T-shirt.
Buddy, I did get a new phone.
That's awesome. Buddy, he's actually upgraded from the iPhone.
I had an
10
8
or whatever it was.
I had an 8.
I was an 8.
Yeah, it's like
Still same problem.
7 years old.
What?
It was like my phone was like 7 years old.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 8 years old. Yeah, he was on an iPhone 8, but he's upgraded now. Yeah, he forgot your name at the Toyota Owners Tournament.
That's okay.
Just call him Smoke.
Yeah.
Call him Smoke.
I go by lots of names.
You didn't get a titanium iPhone, did you?
No, I don't think so.
He did the 14 because they had a better promotion going on than the 15. So what is it, a 14 Pro Max?
Just a 14 Plus.
14 Plus, got you.
Just a 14.
So what's the difference between a Pro and a Plus?
I think the Pro's got a faster processor and a better camera.
Why didn't you get that?
They didn't have one in the 14.
Oh. Well, that explains it.
It wasn't free.
Do what?
It wasn't free.
Right. Well, I had to add a line, so we did that.
He said, what'd you tell me y'all did? You added a line and your bill went down?
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know what kind of deals they got going on at Verizon, but they saved me some money.
It didn't make any sense when he's telling me on the phone. But he's like, I added a line, got a new phone, and my bill went down. I'm like, well, that sounds like a deal.
Yeah.
I'm not a mathematician, but it sounds like a deal.
That's what I said.
Wait, who pays the bills? You or Allison?
Well, Allie, I guess.
Well, you don't know that it went down yet. You ain't got the bill yet.
No,
probably going to be all these little tiny charges in fine print down there at the bottom, like surcharge, tax, double tax, triple tax.
We got 2 internets with Verizon, 3 phones, and 3 iPads.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Ryan, he actually he didn't. That's what he's saying. He actually got a free upgrade.
Yeah. Yeah, like
because he added a line.
I got this phone for free for adding a line.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so we got about 13, 14 minutes until 8 o'clock. You know, we roll the show till 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. Oh, I did see some questions. I'm going to jump back into some questions. But if y'all got any questions about fishing this past weekend on Moss Lake, from fishing on your local lake to fall fishing in general.
Yeah, we got a few good questions already rolled in.
Yeah, so...
here's you go. We'll start
go
with
ahead
this
and grab one.
Mr. Higgs says, go-to baits for late fall around grass.
All right, you want to start or you want me to go first?
You go ahead.
Got to have a jerkbait. Got to have a jerkbait for the edge of the grass, especially early and late. Fish will use that grass line to feed, and I hate to say forward-facing sonar is going to be your best friend, but it will be. And then when they tuck back in it. Now, if it's grass, like if it's matted out and topped out, stuff like that.
You don't need that forward-facing sonar if you fishing shallower, grass in 5 to 8
So
feet.
grass is kind of a loaded question, like what kind of grass we
Yeah,
talking about?
there's a lot of different
So
kinds.
I'm thinking like Gunnersville type with the defined edge,
Like
with deeper
submerged
grass,
grass.
below it, and obviously you have options to punch it if that's available too.
Yeah.
Frog it, frog it in the fall is a big deal, especially on the TVA lakes. What are we talking about? Give us some more, a little bit more detail
Well,
on
let's
the
just
grass.
cover it all. I mean, you covered pretty much the biggest majority of it.
Okay,
I
go
mean,
ahead.
because you've got from topped out grass to submergent grass. But when I'm thinking fall grass, I'm thinking shallow. I mean, not terribly shallow, but 6 feet or less. And one of my favorite things, I know this used to be something that we did a lot back when Clark's Hill had that little high drill line that would grow out to 4 to 6 feet. One of my favorite things to do was throw a little small bladed spinnerbait, like a little 3/8 or ½ ounce spinnerbait with 2 little number 3½ willow leaf blades. You want those small blades in the fall because usually they're feeding on smaller shad. And I've caught a lot of big fish in the fall on a smaller style spinnerbait with 2 little number 3½ blades.
Yeah, so I hope that helps. We had a comment from old Turd Ferguson. You know old Turd Ferguson? Is that your boy?
I do.
All right, so he wants to know how Norman's fishing. I hear pretty good. I talked to the dad, Kevin.
Rates were good last weekend.
Yeah, so I know they paid, I think, the top 30 in the SOE tournament, and I believe it took 10 something to get a check.
Yeah, I think Shane LaHue said he got maybe the last check with like 1087, so
Okay,
nearly 11
okay.
pounds.
Yep,
and that was 30th place.
I know Hank had 12, and he got a check.
Yeah,
Tater and Haywood obviously won it with 17.
right.
But it's I hear it's fishing good. There's a lot of fish biting. I know the high school boys from the CCBA that did well reported to me they caught a lot of fish, got a lot of
Yeah.
bites. Fish are relating to bait, but they're also relating to docks like they always do 12 months out of the year on Norman. But you can get a lot of bites up there right now. It's definitely fishing well. The lake's very, very, very low.
Yes,
I
it
think
is.
I'm not sure exactly 5. Is it 5, 6 feet low? Is it that low?
It's got to at least be 4 to 5 feet.
Yeah.
Probably.
So
I wouldn't say more than 5, probably 4.
and Moss is probably around 4 foot too.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say? All right. So yeah, Norman's fishing well. I actually, believe it or not, when I get my new boat, instead of going over to I might go over to Moss and just run it, and make sure everything's right. But I'm gonna probably slide over to Norman one day and just go swing on something.
Go break it in.
Yep.
Swing on some.
I did see a comment. I can't remember who said it.
Oh,
but-
so JG Outdoors said it's 5.5 feet low Saturday morning.
okay.
I
There you go.
didn't know it was that low. That's a lot of water on that lake.
Yep. Well, Ryan, that's not gonna happen. He says somebody needs to make a video on YouTube of me losing a fish. We'll shake it off playing.
I'll make a suggestion to Scott.
Yeah. Well, it'd be McCoy. It wouldn't be Scott, but
Like it's got to be one you can laugh at though. Can you laugh at the big one you lost at South Dakota yet that you threw back?
oh yeah.
Okay,
I
that'd
threw
be-
back.
that
I
would
like
be
how
a
you
good
said
one.
that. How I threw
That
it
I
was
was
back.
thinking the same.
That would be a
fish.
good one.
Shake it off. I didn't shake it off. I laid down and put my head in my hands and about cried. But oh, that was terrible. Oh, it's just terrible. I had some bad losses. I mean. Well, that's not even a loss. That's like
Yeah, no, you
it's
had
like a
that
fumble.
one.
That's a
Yeah,
straight up fumble.
You had that one.
You ought to have seen when I posted that on TikTok too, like some of the comments of people that obviously don't fish tournaments,
Right.
And they're like, like how does that happen? Like God, you're an idiot, just
Yeah, yeah.
like terrible stuff. And I'm like, whatever,
Like you
it
don't
happens.
already feel bad enough.
Yeah, like why? I mean, why he beating a dead horse like kicking me while I'm down, man? All right,
But we've all done that or something similar. I remember fishing a BFL at Santee one time. I had 4 bass and I ended up finishing 3rd in the event. And when I was putting them in my weighing bag, one of them jumped out of the live well back in the lake.
Oh, I saw that happen back. This is back early FLW days. Kevin Vita, remember Kevin?
I remember. Was
You
that
remember
at
that Okeechobee?
Ouachita?
No, it was Okeechobee.
Okay, I
He's
seen one at
walking down the
Ouachita.
dock, dude. He's walking down the dock at Clewiston at the lock there at Okeechobee, right there at Roland Marianne Martin's Marina there. It's an FLW tour event. I was fishing as a co-angler.
Yes.
I wasn't even fishing in the front of the boat. Yeah, and this was like 2005 or 2006. And he's got a big giant bag, dude. And that's a long dock if you park
Oh,
out at the
yeah,
end. He's
it
walking
is.
down the dock and like a 6 or 7 pounder like comes out of the bag and like barely clips the dock and goes back in the lake.
Oh,
And
my
I'm just
God.
like everybody's just like shell shocked, you know.
Yeah,
just,
did that really happen? Like, you don't know what to say.
And he looks like, I mean, he's like turning, like you think he's going to throw up or pass
Yeah.
out or something, dude. It was a bad deal. So that's the fast forward to today. They have zippered bags, and like
Yeah.
I've seen some elite guys like bag their fish in their boats when we don't have a trailer to weigh in
Yeah.
or don't have to, and they don't zip that zipper up.
Ooh,
And I'm just
that's
looking at them
terrible.
going, "You asking for it?" Well, because it's coming from a guy who threw
Yeah.
one back in the lake.
Yeah.
But still, and I had one jump out of my live well at Red River this year back in the lake. Anyway, I lost fish all kinds of different ways.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's like use that zipper if you have a zipper bag.
it ha-
like
it-
these
like
have,
I would
these
do-
have heavy duty. No, this has a zipper.
Yeah.
And Velcro. This thing's like double
It's
locked.
got Velcro? I
No, it
didn't
doesn't have Velcro. Sorry. Thought it had Velcro in there too, but it's got a zipper. Super heavy duty weigh bags. But yeah, if you don't trailer your boat for your tournament weigh-ins, make sure you got a bag that will zip.
Yeah.
I know y'all laughing like it's not a big deal. It's like everything in life. Like it's not
Yeah.
it's one of those things. It's not going to happen to me, and then it does, and you're like, oh, should have listened to Matt. Should have listened to Thrift. Get you a zippered weigh bag. You got a zippered weigh bag, Tyler?
I do, but in BFLs and stuff, you have to use their weigh bags.
Yeah.
Which do not
Always
have
roll
zippers.
it down.
Oh yeah. Then just roll it up.
Yeah,
Oh,
roll it down.
up.
Don't
Get you
care
some Get you some of them big fast clips. Put them clips. I'll roll it up and clip it.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
Jumbo clip.
Yeah, the big jumbo clips. That's right. All right. You got another question here?
Let me scroll
I see
back.
a bunch.
Yeah, we got some good questions, guys. Thank you.
All right. Well, yeah, we got about 6 or 7 minutes. Let's take a few more questions.
All right. Here's one just about the BPT. Chuck Fish asks, what do you think about the BPT changes? Pretty much for 2024, the only change that's coming into place is going back to every fish counts format instead of 5 biggest. And to me, I like it. I don't really care what the format is as long as I know what it is before I start practice. But every fish counts format's a little faster paced. To me, it's funner to watch. You don't have as much downtime. And one thing they did change versus this year or 2024 than what they did earlier in the BPT with the every fish counts is they're zeroing the weights after the second day. The weights will zero every day, so you're not going to go into the last day with somebody with a huge lead. Everybody's going to start at 0, so you don't have that big of a blowout at the beginning. But another thing they did was only the top 10 in each group will make the cut to the knockout round. So the first 2 days, Group A and Group B, the weights will be cumulative, but instead of taking 20 from each group to the third day, the knockout round, there will only be 10 from each group goes. And what that's going to do is create a lot more drama, and it's not going to let guys step off the gas. You're not going to be able to get a big enough lead to say, all right, I can go practice, because you've only got 10 places you're vying for versus 20. So, if you're in 5th place and you've got 70 pounds and 20th place has got 15 pounds, you're pretty comfortable. I don't need to keep catching them. I can go practice or lay up or go do something, put it on the trailer early, whatever you want to do. But with them cutting to the top 10, you're not going to have that big a separation. You might only be 10 or 15 pounds ahead of the cut line, so you can't really lay up. And I think that's going to create a lot more, interest and drama around that cut line and just in the tournament as a whole. So that I kind of like. And I do like the every fish counts format, especially when they do the minimum weights that's a little bit higher, like that 2-pound minimum weight, because most people don't understand how hard it is to catch a 2-pounder.
Yeah, and it's all relevant to the location, right? Like you go to Norman, and like 2-pounders like gold.
Yeah, like you
gold.
go to Norman and this
Or you go to
Moss
Moss
Lake or
on,
somewhere like that.
in
But
November.
even any other, like a big fish lake, like you go to Rayburn or somewhere like that, like we
Still
fish.
have a surplus of under 2-pound fish.
Yeah, you catch a lot of big fish, but you still don't catch a whole lot of 2-pound plus fish. Like I think when we were at Rayburn, when Ott Defoe won a couple of years ago, I mean, it only took 5 or 6 fish a day to make the cut, that were 2 pounds plus. So you're still not catching a lot of 2+ pound fish.
So a couple comments that I want to address. One is Josh Ryan, is that a shot at me? Or are
What'd
you
he say?
serious? He said, sorry, he's late to the pod. He's been pickleballing. I hope, Josh, you're a
I'll take it
pickleballer.
as a
For your
shot.
sake, Josh, I hope you're a pickleballer because it's fun. Like, trust me. It's awesome. Pickleball is awesome.
I still got to come play. I hadn't done
Yeah,
it
you
yet.
do.
I
So,
probably twist my
first,
ankle.
I almost forgot to do this. I almost slipped my mind. And it's because it's been, a week or 2 weeks or whatever since it happened. But my boss man, the owner over at Pulse Fish Lures, just happened to wrap up a little AOY title
Ooh,
recently.
yeah! Shout out to Todd.
Mr. Todd Goad, our boy over at Pulse
Yeah.
Fish Lures. Congrats
I forgot
again.
we hadn't had a show since that went down.
Yeah, and we're going to get Todd down here soon. He's obviously been very busy.
We do need to do that.
Yeah, with not just Pulse Fish Lures, but obviously winning the Angler of the Year title on the
That-
MPFL.
I mean, that's a big deal.
Yeah, and this I saw a comment too talking about the MPFL. So MPFL was very cool. Excuse me, in how they were showing the forward-facing sonar as an overlay on some of their live broadcast. I got to catch a little bit of that at the last event. Obviously, I was
Yeah.
following Todd, my boy, to make sure he was able to wrap
Kind of
up
like
that
what they were
AOY
doing
title.
with Gussie at the Classic.
Exactly. So, Keith, I don't know if y'all are aware, Bassmaster's been doing that for a while. They were actually probably the first ones to do it. Problem is, Bass has obviously a big relationship with Humminbird
Right.
as one of their main sponsors. So, therefore, the only one that you ever saw was Humminbird. Well,
Right.
I'm just gonna come out and say it, like Humminbird has the best 360 on the market. Okay.
Yeah.
Humminbird does not have the best forward-facing sonar on the market. Now that being said, and I'm going to explain why I'm
Yeah.
saying this. The reason I'm saying this is because with the sponsor relations with Bassmaster and Humminbird, they're going to show the forward-facing sonar on the Humminbird when they have the chance to do it through the overlay. Now they should be showing the Lowrance and the Garmin specifically for you, the fans. I 100% agree with that. The problem is the majority of the guys that are winning tournaments in the Elite Series off of forward-facing sonar are either running Garmin or Active Target. So therein lies the problem. The majority of the cameras that are in the boats with the guys that have forward-facing sonar are direct conflict with the sponsor, which is Humminbird for Bassmaster. Now, Bassmaster has to figure out a way to negotiate or whatever they need to do with Humminbird to portray all of our forward face, because I agree that is very engaging and entertaining, like to watch somebody's bait and the fish react.
Yeah.
Because the biggest complaint
It's
recently
staring at the back of
is
somebody's
staring at the
head.
back of somebody's
Yeah.
head while they're looking down at their graph. I agree. Look, I'm a bass fishing fan. I'm a bass fisherman. As a fan of the sport and a fisherman, I would much rather see what exactly is going on.
Right.
As opposed to them saying, oh, he's about, especially the worst is when they're commentating.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, there he is. He's following it. Oh my gosh, I got to twitch it faster. Oh, no, I got to slow it down. And then he eats it, but you can't see anything that's going on
Right.
the screen. So you hear all that and you're like, man, that's tough to watch. But hopefully, the BPT, hopefully Bass,
Yep.
everybody kind of starts catching up to that deal. Here's the thing.
I think they're going to have to.
I agree.
I
Yep.
think they're going to have to, just with I don't want to call it controversy, but with the attitude towards forward-facing sonar on the TVs and on the live feeds, I think they're going to have to do something to make it. They're going to have to make it more entertaining. They're going to have to gear it toward the viewers to make it interesting, make people want to watch.
Yep. Keith, I appreciate the comments. He said we're the best because we, not a lot of folks in the industry will actually tell the truth. We have our sponsors. Brian has his
Yeah.
sponsors. I have my sponsors. We believe in their products. We use their products. We're sitting here lying. If I sit here and said Lowrance makes the best of everything ever invented for the eternity
Yeah.
of the company, yada yada, everybody knows. Like they can see through that. Like credibility means something in this industry to me, and it does to Thrift.
Yes. And that's something that I've kind of took pride in my career, and Matt's the same way. If you look at our sponsor list, I've been with Demiki for going on 15 years now. Matt's the same way with Lunker Hunt, with Ranger Boats. And it's not just a sponsor, like it's more of a relationship. Like
Exactly.
Demiki knows that I'm going to throw other products because they know, they're realists. They know no one company can make the best of everything. Like
Right.
they've got a lot of great products that I love that I think are better than other products in the industry, but they've got some products that I like other products better, and they know that.
Yep.
And they're fine with that. Like Daniel with Demiki told me from day one, he's like, use our stuff, but just don't lie, because that discredits both of us.
Right.
That discredits myself and Demiki.
And
it puts a bad view on the whole brand as a whole.
With social media and the way live coverage exists now, you're not going to get away with a lie anyway.
No, you're not. You're going to get called out. And as rightly you should.
Yep. And there's not a single company in this industry, and I say this with 100% confidence, that makes everything that Brian or myself need as a professional angler to do our
They
job to the
can't.
best
It's
of our
impossible.
ability. Correct.
It is absolutely impossible.
So it's never going to happen. It's not the way it works. All right, one more question. It's 8:02. We got to jump into it. Let's see.
Pick us one out. While you're looking for one, I'm going to answer one on my jerkbait rod that Eric Smith asked. He said,
right.
what all does Thrift uses jerkbait rod for other than jerkbaits? Looking for a multi-purpose rod. So my jerkbait rod is a 6.6 medium heavy. It's a great jerkbait rod, obviously, but I also use it a lot for your medium-sized top waters, pop R's, things like that. So medium-sized prop baits, throwing a little 1/8 buzz bait, things like that. And I use it a lot throwing smaller, lighter weight crankbaits, like your little flat side crankbaits and things like that. You know, it's got a nice action to it with a pretty kind of a parabolic tip that lets you load up with those smaller treble hook baits. And that's kind of, I mean, that'd be the easiest way to describe it. Anytime I'm throwing a smaller treble hook style bait, that's going to be my go-to rod for it, just because the action, I feel like I get better hookups and land those fish better with that 6.6 medium heavy.
All right, so I'm gonna take this question because he's been a pretty hot topic lately. It's from M. Jones and wants to know if I think Miliken does get on the elites. You know, I do think a lot of YouTubers out there, right? So I think what separates Ben, and I don't know Ben personally. I actually spoke to him on the phone about 2 weeks ago about some business stuff, but he is he was always from what I've read and what I've understood about his story. He's not like a lot of the other YouTubers that, you know, they were YouTubers from the get-go. Like, they were guys that just wanted to do YouTube.
Right,
they were social media guys.
Content, yeah.
Ben was a guy that wanted to fish professionally, but couldn't yet because of whatever factors, you know,
Right.
was going on in his life at the time. So he fell back on YouTube as a way to still be in the industry that he loves and grow a brand and grow a following. And you know, now the way things have transpired, he's really like the perfect storm.
Oh,
right?
he really
like,
is.
When you come out of a situation qualifying for the Elite Series to the Opens, and you already have this gigantic social media following set up in your back pocket to fall back on, you know, you talk about leverage for sponsorship opportunities.
Yeah.
He's got it. Do I think Miliken's a real deal? Yeah, I mean, I think he's a legit fisherman. I think he is.
I mean, I think you got to think he is. I mean, to finish in the top
go
10
through
in
that,
points
yeah,
through
like,
9 opens, like that's
right.
That's a hard thing to do. Like,
sure.
it doesn't matter what what trail you're
and win
in.
one, yeah. So Ben will be fishing the Classic in 2025. 2020. I keep saying next year's going to be 2025. Quite it's not. 2024 at Grand Lake next year. I think Ben's got a pretty good business sense about him. I think he'll do very well from the business side of the industry. Obviously, he already does.
Right, exactly.
And, you know, as far as his competitiveness on the Elite Series, you know, the Elite Series is made up of a lot of really good fishermen, a lot of good young guys that are very, very hungry. I think Ben will fit right in there and do just fine. You know, we'll see. You know, first year is always kind of a telltale sign. Just because you have a bad first year really doesn't mean anything for a professional angler.
Right.
More
and
often
he's
than not,
been
guys
fishing
struggle
and
their first year.
traveling and fishing national trails.
Yep.
Like maybe not a top level trail, but you know, a AAA level trail
and
for
he's
a
had
couple
some
years
success.
and had a lot of success.
And the other thing is, we always say the number one component of being a good fisherman is time on the water. I mean, this guy's been building a YouTube channel, and it hovers around time on the water.
Right.
I mean, I don't know how many days a year Ben fishes to create the content that he does, but I'm sure it's a couple hundred at least. You know,
Oh, I'd say for sure.
he is he's obviously good with the new technology, the forward-facing sonar and things like that. You know, he's a big bait specialist. You know, I think he'll do just fine. So it's interesting. You know, so but yeah, it's he'll be a welcome asset to the Elite Series brand, and Ben will be a fun guy to get to know and to fish against. You know, I always like new talent coming in the industry because, you know, we always say we fish against the fish. We do, but when you get to fish against new guys that you never fished against, that's always
you
fun
always
too.
learn something.
That's
That's
right.
what I like about
That's
it.
right.
Like,
You
learn
never,
something from everybody.
ever stop learning. 100%. No, they're not. The trivia giveaway, speaking of which, we got to jump in right now. They're not Taylor Swift tickets, unfortunately. Oh, by the way, so as much fun as my kids had at the movie the other night,
Yeah.
I'm sitting here thinking, gosh, I get online and start looking at like concert tickets and stuff.
Yeah, because you wanted to continue.
Dude.
Oh, I bet it's crazy.
It's $20 just to see her movie. What do you think a ticket? What do y'all think a ticket to a Taylor Swift concert is right now? Like not even a front row, yada suite, whatever ticket, like just a regular ticket.
Just like nosebleed ticket.
Yeah.
Or
Grass.
just
Standing in the grass.
Whatever.
I hadn't been to
Just
a
a basic
concert
concert
since
ticket.
like 2002, so I have no idea.
Y'all are low. You're all low.
Say
He said $3,500. It ain't that much.
like 400.
This is what I saw, and this is what I
I'm
was
going
told.
500.
$900.
God, Moses.
And people wonder why she's a billionaire.
Yeah,
Like, come on, man. We're in the wrong profession. Can you sing?
not a lick.
Okay. Because I can dance a little
I've
bit.
never
Maybe
heard
if you
any
can
of her
sing, we can
songs. Can
start
she
singing.
sing?
Do what?
I've never heard any of her songs. Can she sing?
Oh, you've heard some of her songs. Yeah, she can sing.
No, I really haven't.
And I mean, you got to respect her. Like she
yeah.
she writes all her own stuff. She's like, yeah, it's pretty amazing. Like you, 30. I'm telling you, y'all look it up. Get you a Taylor Swift ticket, a concert ticket.
Oh.
Get your wife or your daughter a Taylor Swift concert ticket for Christmas present this year. You'll not only be broke, but you'll have the
Matt,
happiest
you need
wife
to
or
just
daughter.
come
in your
off the
life.
hip and hire her for like a private concert for Reese's birthday or something.
Yeah, I'm sure she's first. Number one, I'm sure she's available. Number two,
Of course.
yeah, like the blank check wouldn't even suffice. Like you couldn't like. There's not a. I don't even think that's not an option. Yeah, I agree, Dean. I agree 100%, Dean.
What's that?
Well, you just have to read the comments. So, yeah, I'm telling you, one on England. Y'all look it up, man. Y'all look it up. All right, trivia question time, y'all. You know if you were here at the beginning of the show. Hey, do y'all know the answer, by the way, so you can see it in your feed?
I may have
It's right
forgotten.
here.
Okay.
Can
I know
you
the
read that?
answer
You
now.
know the answer?
I know the answer now.
You sure?
I told you the answer.
No, I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
You asked me to convert it.
Yeah. Oh, did I? And you're the one that said something. No, that was Thrift.
That was me that
I was
said
like,
something
convert
crazy.
this
That
for
was
me.
Google. Google messed
And he's
me up.
like, he gave me the answer, and I'm like, dude, that's not right at all. And he's like, all right, that's not right. We got the right answer now.
All right, let's go. Trivia question for the Angler's Choice giveaway.
Yep, which is a hoodie and a hat from Angler's Choice, high performance hoodie. Whoever wins, shoot us a message on our Facebook page. That is the Let's Talk Fish Facebook page with the size hoodie that you wear and your shipping information. We'll get it out to you ASAP. Here we go. So in the tournament that Brian and I fished Saturday, which was obviously put on by Angler's Choice Marine, sponsored by Angler's Choice Marine, it was the Moss Lake Thursday Night Championship. It ran Saturday at Moss Lake. They paid the top 5 places. I need to know what the difference in pounds and ounces was between first and fifth. The difference between first and fifth.
So what was the weight range it took to get paid? Pretty much.
That's not really the same question.
Okay. Go with what Matt said.
I mean, you could. No, yeah, that's not
Yeah.
right. I need to know the difference between first and fifth. It may take a while, actually.
It may. It may. Because
But it wasn't
anybody that
19
knows
pounds.
anything about moss knows it could be a wide margin or a small margin.
Well, you see one already? What does that mean? All right. Let me. If you're going to submit an answer, it either has to be like 1 pound 3 ounces, or like 4 ounces, or make sure it's ounces, or just pounds and ounces, or just pounds. Whatever it is, put that beside it.
I got it.
I got it. You got CTE?
Yes, I
All
do.
right. CTE Outdoors is correct.
13 ounces.
13 ounces was the correct
Separating
answer.
first to fifth place. That's pretty tight.
Yeah, first. So everybody in the top 5 was 1 bite away from winning the tournament.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I know we won a tournament, but what I'm saying is everybody,
Yeah,
second, third, fourth, fifth, even 6th. I think our little buddy Carter finished 6th,
Yeah.
and he had like 990
Right,
or
just-
something.
yeah, right at
like,
10 pounds.
Literally, everybody was a 2.5 to 3 pounder away from winning the tournament. So that was right up there in the top. CTE Outdoors. Not sure your real name. I hope for your sake it's not CTE Outdoors.
That's the
But-
same guy.
No, I'm kidding. What'd you say?
That was the same guy that we were discussing before he answered properly.
Oh, okay. So he specified.
Yeah.
Ooh.
You don't think this is somebody that fished the tournament, do you? Or somebody finishing in the top 5? Could be. Doesn't matter. It could be. But still, it's still hard to figure out because they weighed in
Either way,
hundreds.
we called the winner.
They weighed in hundreds.
They weighed in hundreds.
So you still
we
had to convert.
We converted.
We converted and we rounded off, obviously.
Our answer was 13 ounces, and that was the first 13 ounces.
So-
I mean, sometimes the correct answer is not correct, but it's what we deem. It's what Matt and I deem to be correct.
Doesn't matter what y'all say. It's what we say.
Yeah, it's what we deem to be
Yeah.
correct.
We decided that years ago when we screwed up some
Yeah,
trivia.
it happens.
Yep.
It happens.
All right, so CTE Outdoors, send us your information on our Facebook page, Messenger, on Let's Talk Fish Facebook page, the size hoodie that you want, and your shipping address, and we'll get the hat and the hoodie out to you. Compliments of Angler's Choice Marine ASAP. Been a good show.
Been a real good show.
Yeah, had a lot of questions we didn't get to, guys, gals. I promise next time we're in the studio, we'll get to as many as we can, like
Which
always.
possibly could be next Tuesday.
Possibly could be next
Possibly
Tuesday.
could be next
That's right.
Tuesday.
But until then, when we can't go fishing on Tuesdays, what we going to do, Thrift?
We're going to talk fishing.
We're going to talk fish. See y'all next time.